Hello guys, welcome to BioEd. I'm Aman from BioEd and welcoming you to a new video on cells of the immune system. So in the last video tutorial, we studied about different cells of the immune system, which we studied about the phagocytes and mononuclear phagocytes. So now in this video tutorial, we'll be studying about a whole lot of different cells and we'll be studying about them in detail. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. Hello guys, let us study about granulocytes. So as the name suggests, granulocytes, these cells contains granules in them. You can see from the diagram that these blue colored are the granules, that these cells contain granules in the cytoplasm of them. That's why they are named as granulocytes. So a basic characteristic of these granulocytes is the presence of granules in the cytoplasm, whereas these are also at times known as polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Why polymorphonuclear? Because it is made up of polymorpho and nuclear. You can see the word polymorphonuclear means these cells have a polymorphic nucleus. That means their nucleus vary in different shapes and sizes, and it is divided into three lobes or different segments. Next thing, that these cells are a basic category of WBC in the innate immune system. That these are the white blood cells in the innate immune system. So now coming on to the differentiation of these granulocytes. So these granulocytes are basically divided into four different types. The first type is neutrophils, the second type is eosinophils, the third type is basophils, and the last are mast cells. Okay, so except from the mast cell over here, these all three different neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, their naming is derived on the basis of their staining characteristic. That is, these neutrophils, as the name suggests, neutrophils, these do not get stained by any acidic or the basic dyes, that are neutral dyes. Next is eosinophils, they are being stained by the acidic dyes such as eosin, we'll discuss on later. The next is basophils, they are stained by a basic dye, and the last are the mast cells. So let us study about neutrophils in detail. So guys, now let us talk about neutrophils. So neutrophils are generally the most abundant phagocytes in the bloodstream. That is, they are the most number of phagocytes that are circulating in the bloodstream. So now let me tell you that these are near about 60 to 65% of the circulating WBCs in the bloodstream. So now these neutrophils are containing granules, and these granules in them contains these three different enzymes. These three different enzymes and these three different things are lysozymes, collagenase, and elastase. See, all these three enzymes act together in forming and killing the bacteria or killing the pathogen that comes into the body, which tries to provide harm to our body. But these three things come in action and they destroy the cell. Okay, so these are the most abundant phagocytes. Nearly 60 to 65% of the circulating WBCs they are in our blood. And if you see the diameter of these neutrophils are 12 to 15 micrometers. Okay, the nucleus, if you see, of neutrophils is generally polymorphonuclear, and it is of 3 to 5 different lobes. It can contain 3 to 5 different lobes. And this neutrophils, let me tell you a very interesting fact for this neutrophils is that they take 30 minutes. They take 30 minutes to reach from the bloodstream to the site of infection where the infection is happening. And the next important fact is that as soon as they reach the blood cell, they try to counteract the microbe and they do not return to the bloodstream. These cells do not return to the bloodstream. So what basically happens is they go for the fight, they go for the battle, they go and encounter with the microbe, and they do not kill and come back to the body. What instead happens is that they go and fight and convert themselves into the pus cell. That is the pus. Whenever we get any injury, there is a formation of yellow colored pus cells. So these are those cells, neutrophils are those cells, and they go and they form pus cells and they die. Okay, on an average, if you see, 10 to the power 11 neutrophil cells are produced per day in a human body. So on an average in a human body, 10 to the power cells, these neutrophils are produced in our human body. Okay, so let us also talk about the staining characteristics. So as the name suggests, neutrophils, these cells do not get strongly stained. That is, these neutrophils do not get strongly stained by either acidic or basic dye. These do not get stained by these of the two dyes. Instead, they get stained by the neutral dyes. That's why they are named as neutrophils, and that's why they are differentiated by the cells that I have told previously, eosinophils and basophils. So now let us also talk something about mast cells. So now let us talk about the mast cells. So these mast cells are derived from the cells of the bone marrow. They are derived from the cells of the bone marrow, and they are present in the epithelia of skin and mucosal layers. What does epithelia mean? Epithelia means the outer layer. That is, if this is the skin and a lot of layers of skin, so these mast cells are present on the epithelia, that is the outer layer of the skin, or in the mucosal surfaces. Okay, so now see, this is a basic diagram of a mast cell, and these mast cells have granules in them. That's why they are granulocytes, and these granules consist of histamines and other chemical mediators of allergic diseases. So these histamine and chemical mediators of allergic diseases, they help in killing of the microbes, and also containing and restricting allergic reactions up to an extent. And the main thing is that they also provide defense against helminth infections. Against helminth infection. So what does a helminth infection mean? A helminth is a parasitic worm. So any worm, a parasitic worm that resides inside a body, so this mast cell provides the defense against it, and also helps us in removing this helminth. That is, it provides helminth defense against the helminth. These also express receptors on their surface. On their surface, these have some receptors, and these receptors are for immunoglobulin E and immunoglobulin G. So we'll be discussing about the immunoglobulin and their different types in detail in later on videos, but for now we'll just keep it a note that on their surfaces they have receptors on their surface for immunoglobulin G and immunoglobulin E. Okay, so now they also help in mediating of inflammation. So what basically happens, how do they introduce inflammation in the body, is that, see, suppose I'll show you with a diagram. See, suppose this is a mast cell. Okay, so whenever an antibody, this is an antibody, I show it with a Y. So suppose whenever this mast cell and antibody has an interaction, a series of signaling events occurs. A series of signaling events starts to occur, and the granules of this mast cell, these contain histamines, and these contains histamines, and these histamines, they promote changes in the cell. They promote changes and start the process of inflammation. So this is a mast cell which also provides us defense against the helminth infection. Now let us discuss about basophils. So these basophils are those blood granulocytes that has the structural and functional similarity same to mast cells. That is, their structural and functional similarity is same to mast cells. So now let us discuss why the name basophils. Why have they been given the name basophils? Let me tell you that they have been named basophils because the granules of these basophils contains acidic proteins in them. That is, these granules contains acidic proteins which binds to basic dyes. Since they bind to basic dyes and show a bluish color, that's why they are named basophils. The acidic protein binds to a basic dye known as hematoxylin. So that's why they are named as basophils. And they are also the least abundant cells. That is, they are very less in the blood and bone marrow. They are least abundant. That is, they are less than 2% of all the cells that are present in the bloodstream and the bone marrow. Okay, so though they have a two-lobed nuclei, one lobe is this and the another lobe is this, they have a two-lobed nuclei. And let me how they help in the process of inflammation. That suppose this is a basophil, this generates from the bone marrow, and whenever any infection occurs, it reaches to the site of infection. And whenever it encounters the microbe and it gets injured, this basophil get injured, and this during the encountering of the microbe and it is getting injured, it releases histamines, and these histamines, they contribute to the process of inflammation, and thus it helps in fighting the invading pathogen and fighting the invading microbe. Okay, so this was all overview about the basophils. Now we'll talk about eosinophils. Okay, so now coming to eosinophils. So these eosinophils, these are a small diagram about eosinophils, that these granules in the eosinophils, they contain basic proteins. They contain a toxic basic protein, that is, they contain basic proteins, and these basic proteins bind to acidic dyes, and the acidic dye named over here is eosin. So the acidic dye named is eosin. That's why it is named as eosinophils. Okay, so what happens, what it is let us talk about the structure of the nucleus. The structure of the nucleus is it is a kidney shaped nucleus it has, and it can vary from 2 or 4 lobes. So why it can vary, the lobes of the nucleus can vary, because it has the capability to degenerate in the bloodstream. That is, this nucleus can degenerate in the bloodstream, and it can change from 2 lobes, means it can change from 4 lobes to 2 lobes. Okay, so it is also crucial in killing parasites. How? We'll see. It helps in killing parasites because it has enzyme which helps in killing the which helps in degrading the cell wall of the parasites. So what basically happens over here is because the granules of this contain a unique, because the granules of the eosinophils contain a unique basic toxic dye which helps in killing the parasites and destructing the cell wall of parasites and killing them. So these eosinophils also function in helping and killing the tumor cells, and the next thing, they also help in also the repair of the tissue. They also help in repair of the damaged tissue. So this was all about the 4 different types of granulocytes that we have studied. The first was neutrophils, mast cells, basophils, and the last one is eosinophils. Okay, so this was all an overview concept of the granulocyte. So guys, if you liked the video, please drop a like and also subscribe to this channel. So okay guys, meet you in the next video. In the next video, we'll be discussing about the antigen presenting cells and lymphocytes. Thank you. Bye bye.